What's going on, people? It's your boy NGS back at it with another video. Now I'm gonna keep this one short, sweet, and to the point for two very important reasons. Number one, we got some Halo Infinite to play, as you can see in the background, and evidently another playthrough of Jedi Fallen Order. I guess that's on the menu too. And number two, I just recorded this entire video and then realized my mic wasn't picking up any of the audio. So we going back in for round two, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're going to be talking about the Xbox Anniversary live stream event. Now, for those who are unaware, November 15th, 2021 marks the 20th anniversary since the launch of the original Xbox. So Microsoft announced that they were doing a live stream event, basically celebrating 20 years of Xbox's legacy. And I thought I might as well do a video sort of semi-recapping some of the stuff that went down, in addition to some other things that have happened in the Xbox world over the past couple of days. So let's start with the Xbox Anniversary event. I gotta say, it was a really nice trip down memory lane. It was very much so geared towards your nostalgia of the Xbox brand. So there was a couple of like iconic moments from Xbox's gaming history. And one thing that I noticed as I was watching the entire live stream was how fascinated I was about the creation of the original Xbox. One thing I love about the video game industry, outside of playing such incredible games, is learning about what went into them. Whereas movies and TV shows, we've seen documentaries for a millennia, we don't really see too many of those in gaming. So one thing that Xbox had done, and it was so funny because I was thinking, it'd be really cool if they actually did a documentary. They are actually going to be doing a full-on documentary detailing the Xbox from its original inception, its creation, a lot of the things that happened along the way. A whole 6-part series is going to be launching this December, talking about the Xbox brand, and I for one am extremely excited about that, because one thing that is really cool about learning about video games is learning about the people behind them. And one of my most favorite documentaries in recent memory is actually the creation of 2018's God of War, Raising Kratos. It's on YouTube if you guys have not seen it, but it's definitely worth watching, seeing how they were able to take this franchise, a very beloved franchise, and transform it, and at the same time honor its roots. I love hearing about the passions, the trials, the tribulations, the controversies, the scandals. That stuff is just chef's kiss to me. So I will definitely be watching this documentary. I'm not sure if they're going to be dropping all 6 parts on December 13th, or they're going to, you know, drip the content to us. Like 1 week you're going to get this, maybe 2 weeks later you're going to get the next part. Who knows? But either way, I'm extremely excited for this Power On Xbox documentary. And since we're on the topic of Xbox legacy support, what better way to highlight that than with a brand new update to the backwards compatibility list? That's right, y'all. They've heard our voices and they have updated the list to include 70 new games playable across Xbox One and the Series consoles. And they did not skimp with this list. There's everything from the big budget games that you was looking forward to some of the smaller hits, the cult classics. I'm talking about games like the entire Max Payne franchise playable on Xbox once again. I'm talking about the Fear franchise playable on Xbox. And of course, what would Xbox be without cult classics? There was one game that released on Xbox that at the time, a lot of people weren't really feeling it, but since then it's exploded in popularity. And I'm of course referring to everybody's favorite, Disney's Chicken Little. That's right, y'all. Disney's Chicken Little is going to be playable on Xbox consoles. Can I get a round of applause and an amen in the chat for, honestly, one of the, I don't know, did people like Chicken Little? I was kind of indifferent to it. Still has one of the worst parents in all of animated films, if I'm just being honest. In addition to a backwards compatibility drop, we also got an update for FPS Boost. FPS Boost, for those who aren't aware, is Microsoft's initiative at boosting the performance of a lot of the older games from the Xbox One generation, the 360 generation, the OG Xbox days, and we finally got confirmation that yes, they are going to be boosting the performance of Xbox 360 titles. So to my recollection, the entire Gears of War catalog, Gears 1, 2, 3, Judgment, are now fully playable at 60 frames per second on Xbox consoles. In addition to that, all 3 of the Fable games now playable at 60 frames per second, which I'm very much so looking forward to, considering, you know, with the hype of Forza Horizon 5, I'm very excited to see what they do with Fable, but we gotta wait till then, so why not play a lot of the old classics at 60 FPS? Unfortunately though, we didn't hear anything in the ways of a resolution boost to a lot of these older games. So while it's going to be great to play them at a more stable frame rate, unfortunately a lot of these games are still locked at that resolution. So we're going to be dealing with in some cases, sub HD games to maybe 720p max, because that was the resolution that those games rendered way back when. But, you know, the door isn't closed as far as that is concerned. I'm sure a resolution boost of sorts is in the works, because they were able to do it for a lot of the OG Xbox One games, and even some of the 360 titles like Red Dead Redemption run at 4K on the One X and the Series X. But there is one door that is going to be shut indefinitely, and this is one of the saddest pieces of news I have to deliver to my Xbox Legacy fam. Unfortunately, the Xbox backwards compatibility program is ending indefinitely. And honestly, this is one of the hardest pieces of news I have to deliver, because as a fan of Legacy content, especially as a newfound fan of Xbox, I've loved their approach to backwards compatibility and keeping the dream alive for older games and playing them at better frame rates. But at the end of the day, Microsoft, Xbox, they are a business. So this is a purely logistical move. Because one thing a lot of people don't realize about the backwards compatibility program is that it's not as simple as, hey, we've enabled Xbox 360 and OG Xbox support. No, what they're essentially doing is building an emulator into these consoles, and they are taking all the games that they can, making sure they work with these emulators, and putting them on the storefront. But it's different than a user crafting an emulator and then ripping a game and then putting it online for people to play. They have to go through quality assurance, they have to go through testing, they have to go through certification, and a lot of that stuff, you know, at the end of the day, it does become a logistical problem. Like for a lot of these cult classic games, some of the publishers just don't exist anymore. They're not around. So a lot of the rights are legal, red tape, mumbo jumbo, all that stuff y'all are accustomed to. And let's be real, the Xbox backwards compatibility program, while I love it, it is definitely a labor of love for the fandom. It's not the thing that's, you know, at the top of their list of things they want to pimp out. They want to pimp out this new console with new games for y'all to play, and that stuff is just like the sprinkles on top of the icing. If the Xbox console is the cake, and let's just say things like quick resume and, you know, auto HDR, all that stuff is the icing, back compat for all of those older games and the niche titles, that stuff is just the sprinkles on top. So, you know, it is one of the things where you kind of have to set aside your gamer brain and just look at it from the business point of view, because my God, 6 years of legacy support, things that people thought could not have been done. I mean, to this day, I mean, look at PlayStation. They still don't have a solution for backwards compatibility for all their old games. The fact that Xbox even tried it and they bolstered the library as much as they did, I gotta tip my hat off to everyone over at Xbox, especially the back compat engineering team. Take a fucking bow, y'all. You did some good stuff. Now, shifting the trajectory from really disappointing stuff into really exciting stuff, we have got a cameo by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I thought we were done with celebrity cameos for video games. But in all seriousness, The Rock does have a history with the Xbox brand. He was actually on stage presenting the console with Bill Gates back in 2001, so it is kind of cool to see things come full circle again. But what is not cool is how this was essentially just a glorified Red Notice trailer, because that's the only thing I got from The Rock being in this Xbox event. I mean, it was cool seeing The Rock, because The Rock is cool, but then he's on here talking about this Red Notice movie, and then there's this Xbox sweepstakes that is related to Red Notice, where you can win Xbox prizes that are Red Notice branded. I don't know if people are really gonna love Red Notice that much to have a Red Notice game console, but I digress, man. I digress. You do you. Enter the sweepstakes. Have fun. I just long for a day when we have a movie starring The Rock where he actually has range. Is that too much to ask? And wrapping up the live stream event, we got a spotlight on the Halo franchise with two very important announcements for the Halo world. One of which I'm sure you guys can already see in the background, but we also got another one which maybe some people are excited about it. So we might as well just get that out of the way. There is a live action Halo series debuting on Paramount Plus next year. Please get excited. Now, I'm not doing this to diss on Halo, but it just comes with being a very, very disappointed person when it comes to seeing video games, anime, manga adapted into live action. It's just one of those things that if you aren't gonna get the best people to work on it, then don't fucking do it. And when you have a franchise like Halo, which is just so ripe for these kind of things, Can y'all just do your due diligence, play the games, read the books, do what you got to do? But they don't do that. They never do that. So yeah, I'm willing to give this a shot. I'll download Paramount Plus, see how the first episode is, but I'm not holding my breath, y'all. Just based off the track record of history. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of funny though, because they've been trying to get this Halo thing off the ground for like the past 15 years. I remember at one point, Steven Spielberg was attached to it. They were gonna make like a Halo movie, and I'm not sure if that vision translated into a TV show or if it's its own separate thing. This is just how much I care about it, y'all. As you can see, not so much. And then the second announcement, which, as I'm sure you guys can see in the background, Halo Infinite multiplayer beta being available to everybody, but it's not just the multiplayer beta, you guys. This is the first season of Halo Infinite. So all of your progress from playing the beta over the next couple weeks is going to transition directly into the final game when it launches on December 8th. And what a way to celebrate 20 years of Xbox. I mean, it was the worst kept secret for the past couple of days in gaming, but it doesn't matter, you guys. Halo Infinite, free to play for everybody. And I'm excited to see what people's reactions are to playing Halo in 2021, because the gaming multiplayer landscape has shifted a lot in the past couple of years. So seeing folks' reactions to Halo, a game that, even though they did modernize it, it still is Halo, and it plays very different from all the other, you know, big shooty bang bang games. So I'm excited to see all the reactions. And that wraps up everything I wanted to talk about at the Xbox anniversary event. Now I wanted to transition into something else that is related to Xbox, but it wasn't really, like, I didn't want to turn on the camera and do a whole video about it, but it has to do with a recent interview that Phil Spencer did, where he talked about, of course, 20 years of Xbox, but they had to ask him about Xbox Game Pass. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting sick and tired of every single interviewer asking this man about Xbox Game Pass, because this man has been given the same damn answer for the past year. Yet they still keep asking him the same questions. Now, the question in particular that the interviewer asked was whether or not Xbox Game Pass as a service was profitable, and Phil Spencer gave the same answer that we've gotten accustomed to for the past year by saying that Xbox Game Pass is sustainable. Period, point blank, it is what it is. Now, you can extrapolate that and think that, okay, sustainable doesn't always mean profitable and yada, 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 but if I'm being 100% honest, y'all, which is what I strive to do on this channel and in life, I do not give two shits about whether or not Microsoft is making money off of Xbox Game Pass. Do you want to know why? Because I do not work for Microsoft, I do not work for Xbox, contrary to what people online believe, and I don't have a vested interest on whether or not Xbox should be spending all this money on Game Pass. Do you want to know why? Because me as the consumer, the only thing I worry about is value, seeing how far my dollar goes. And Xbox Game Pass, I don't mean to sound like a shill, but I have gotten way more bang for my buck with that 15-month subscription than I could have ever imagined in my wildest imaginations. That's it. That's literally the only thing I care about. The only thing I care about with Xbox Game Pass and whether it is sustainable is if they provide me with games that sustains my $15 a month prescription. See, I'm tired of already talking about this shit that I'm just a little... And I don't mean to discredit any of my fellow creatives in the entertainment space. I understand that with all this video game armchair analyst stuff, that is where the main bread and butter is. But sometimes you just gotta ask a nigga some funny questions, man. You have Phil Spencer. This is the literal head of Xbox on here. Can we start asking this man some interesting questions? Like, is Phil Spencer, is he an ass or titty kind of guy? Like, these are the questions I would love seeing an interviewer ask. What's this man's favorite anime? Who did he romance in Mass Effect 2? Come on now, y'all. We have got to do better than some of these boring, bland, vanilla, missionary type of questions. So we got to start asking some real hard-hitting, thought-provoking stuff. But I know what y'all are saying. Neo, come on now. Those questions are as boring, as bland as any other question out there. All right, fine. I'll do you one better. Phil Spencer. Thanos snaps away your entire family. 5 years later, they come back. But you've remarried and you started a whole new family. What do? You see, these are the kind of questions that need answers. This is gonna spark thought-provoking conversations. Does he leave his family to go to the new one? Does he blend everything together in a beautiful polyam sort of situation? I don't know, but I would love to hear more of that than just Phil Spencer getting on here and saying, you know, with Xbox Game Pass, it's all about giving value for the consumers. And for us, That's our real joy. So yes, it is sustainable. Like, I don't want to hear the word sustainable for the rest of the fucking year, bro, please. And until Phil Spencer answers all those questions, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to comment down below to all the questions that I asked. What's your favorite anime? Who did you romance in Mass Effect 2? Are y'all an ass or titty kind of person? And most importantly, what would you do if Thanos snapped away your entire family, your wife, your husband, significant other, what have you, your kids? But comment down below and let me know. And for me to for now, my name is NGS signing out. And like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.